Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Virginia.
And I'm Barbara.
Welcome to MindSET, your weekly live stream, giving you the tools and knowledge to manage your mental health and well-being.
Today's topic is about the recognizing our body sensations that signal that we may start to be getting stressed. And then perhaps if we have time, we'll cover what to do about that. And that topic will be covered by our resident mindset therapist, Darryl. MindSET is put together by therapists, the staff at Body and Soul, and people with lived experience of mental health. We have the tools as to what works and want to share those tools with you in a friendly yet effective and accessible way. So now we are going to go over to our tool of the week. Darryl will be covering that, and Virginia's going to be live scribing what Darryl says, that we have a visual representation. Woohoo! Okay. Over to you, Darryl, for our tool of the week.
Right. So what we're going to talk about today are body sensations and distress, and how to manage distress a little bit more. So there are times when we are so distressed that when we can't immediately change things, or there are times when we're so distressed that we can't really sort out our feelings. And these are what distress tolerance skills are designed for. Yeah. So we're going to talk today about how do you start to survive those situations. Well, the way that we start to do those situations, right, is we want to unblock our problem solving abilities. And when we are in crisis, there is a chance to problem solve distress. And when we can problem solve our distress, we can go on to regulate our emotions in a better way. So when we can tolerate distress, we can then start living with the cards that we were dealt in life, and not the cards that we wish we were dealt. Because when we're distressed, we're often not accepting sort of reality as it is. We start to suffer a little bit more. And so these skills that we're going to look at in the next few weeks, what they do is they're designed to stop us giving in to sort of our cravings, or, and when I say cravings, this means getting highly dysregulated, shouting at people, lashing out, whatever it is that you do to lash out or manage distress that's considered not healthy, I suppose. Yeah. So what we want to do is look our cravings in the face, or look our urges in the face, and give them a little wave instead of them dominating us. So if you use a combination of what they call change strategies, all the things that you can do to change situations, or you accept reality as it is, what happens is that we become more free. We become freer from shame, and freer from judgmental thoughts about ourselves. And when we're free, we're contented and we're peaceful, no matter what the situation or no matter what the circumstances in. And to be free and feel peaceful, what we do is we need to master both types of distress tolerance skills. So the ones where we change things, and the ones where we accept things. Yeah. And when you combine, accepting things and being able to change situations, this is really gives us a bit more of the life we want. Because when we go with urges, every time we go with an urge, we become slightly less able to cope. And this makes reaching goals in life much harder to do. So we're going to look at like change strategies. Yeah. And the reason I wanted to bring up body sensations is because I wanted to show you something. And this is the bit where we get Virginia a little bit distressed. Look at this. Look, I've done it for you. I've done your job for you, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. So what you have, right, is that when we're distressed, you have an event, something happens that causes distress. And once our distress is caused, you start thinking certain things. Yeah. So we have lots of thoughts that come in and dominate. Yeah. Then we have emotions, like we talked about today, anger or whatever. Yeah. Then we have body sensations, and then we end up doing something, shouting at someone, lashing out in some kind of way. So these don't happen in a particular order. They're all going on. They're all going on back and forward blah, 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 when we're distressed, right? And the thing about getting distressed is that if you want to change your distress, you have to change something in this cycle. Yeah. And you see, you could change your thoughts. You could just don't think about being angry. Just think about,
Good
yeah,
luck.
yeah, just think about, I don't know, rolling down a
Flower.
hillside on a bike and all the lovely things in the world. Can you do that, Barbara, when you're really, really distressed?
No way.
No. You know what? It's very difficult, right? And do you know what the chances are of changing your thoughts when you're very distressed?
Not 0.001%.
Yeah, almost nothing. Yeah.
A little bit more than that, but it's less than 1%. You're right. Yeah. So trying to change our thoughts is very difficult, right? What about changing your emotions? Barbara, don't be angry.
Yeah, that I just, slap you and then that would just go on from there. No, that won't work either.
Don't be angry, Bob. Just be happy.
Yeah.
Be happy for the air that you breathe and that there are trees. It's just not, yeah.
Oh, I hate when people do that stuff. It's so
Right. Yeah. So when you're distressed, when you want to rip your eyeballs out, right? Can you really, is it really that easy to change the emotion?
no.
What do you think the chances are of changing the emotion are when you're distressed? Not when you're just upset, when you're distressed.
Oh no, I would say like 0 for
Mm,
me.
It's a bit more than that. It's about 2 or 3%. Yeah, but it's
Oh,
very, very low still. Yeah. Another option is to just change your behavior. Don't send that message to someone telling them what you really think of them. Don't throw your phone across the room. Go and kiss a nice little cute puppy and make yourself a delicious snack. What about that? When you're
no,
really like up there.
no, if that worked, I wouldn't be here.
Right. Yeah. So the chance of changing your behavior when you're very distressed is, what do you think that is, Virginia?
10%.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe 10. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit lower still.
Oh, 5%.
Yeah, it's actually around 5% when you're right up there, right? So what you can see here is that these three techniques alone, right, offer you less than a 10% chance. And my guess is that there are people out there that have been trying when they're distressed to trying to change one of those three things and not having much success. And
Yeah.
this is, yeah, and this is why, because you're looking at things that are statistically very difficult to do. But look at body sensations now, right? Changing your body sensations. What chance do you think you have there?
Well, I know the answer, so I think,
Then give it, Barbara. Give it.
well, 80 something percent it must be then. No, 90 something percent.
Yeah,
No.
it's about 90. It's about 90%. So if you can reverse your body sensations, right? You have a 90% chance of bringing your distress down. And then you take out this bit of it. So that loop of your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior getting out of control, it now stops. So how can we control our body sensations to get rid of our distress? Yeah. So what I'm gonna ask people to do, and people at home or wherever they are, is I want them to think about when they're distressed, what happens to their body sensations. Do you feel a tightness in the back of your head? Does your forehead feel squeezed in? Does your jaw feel tight? Are you boiling hot in the face? Does your throat feel constricted or dry? Do the back of your shoulders tighten up? Do you get this squeezing sensation in your chest? Do you get this burning hot sensation in your chest? Do your biceps or your arms feel tight? Do your hands feel gripping? Is your heart rate going up and down? Yeah, some people start to shake. Is your stomach churning? Is your lower back hurting? Are your thighs tensed? Do your calves stiffen up? Do your feet claw underneath? You know, does your breathing become fast? Does your breathing become slow? Do you stop breathing? Does your heart rate go up? Does your heart rate go down? So I just want you to make a list of 5 or 6 that you can get. These different types of emotions can have different sensations, but we're talking about distress and we just want to get these signals. These are like Belisha beacons. Beep, 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 beep. It's your early warning system going off here. So now you've written them down, right? What I want you to do is, a lot of you are not going to know, right? Because when we go through this cycle, we go through it super fast, right? But what I want you to do is I want you to have a guess and write down the chronological order that they come in. So what do you guess? Because you won't, not everyone will know. What comes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth? And then just write the number next to it. I'm going to write mine down. The reason I want people to write down the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is because, you see, where I live, I have a church around the corner, right? And it's full of like Jehovah's Witnesses. And as part of that religion, people in Jehovah, they have to knock on people's door and try to convince them to become religious. And I'm not particularly religious, I have to say. But on the way to church every Sunday, someone always knocks on my door. And when they knock on my door, I run downstairs and I let them in and I take them into my living room and I get them to put their feet up and I make them tea and toast and cakes and stuff like that. And then I say to them, "Oh, what is it that you want?" And they say, "Well, we want to tell you the good news about God, which is that I'm going straight to hell, apparently." And then it crosses my mind that actually, I'm not particularly religious and I don't really want to hear the good news. So I then have to say to them, "Look, if you don't mind, I'm not really interested. Could you get up, you know, leave the tea and leave my house? Thanks." Can you see a problem with that, Barbara?
Yeah, most of the time, in my experience, it takes longer than I want to actually get people out of the house in those situations. Once they're in.
Yeah, yeah. And you see, so what would be a better idea for me to do, you see, is because I know that they're coming, right? I know that they're coming because they've got to pass my house on the way to church. So I know they're coming. So what would be better for me to do, wouldn't it? Would be when they ring the doorbell, would be to lean out of the window and say, "You know what? I'm just not a religious person. Can you jog on, please?" Yeah. And when you look at your body sensations here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? What you can do is when you get the first 1 or 2 or 3 the body sensations, yeah, you know what's coming next, right? Because when we're distressed, it works in patterns. And so what you could do is when you notice the first 1, 2, or 3, just start using some of the distress tolerance skills that we're going to show you. Just start to use them then. And then you don't have to let them come in and get comfortable and settled down. And then it takes much longer to get rid of them. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say to you about distress. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you some skills that you can use for managing your body sensations when they get out of control. Yeah. So this is back to this bit here where we look at the body sensations. And these skills are called the TIPP skills, TIPP. So I'm going to go through them with you, right? But before I go through them with you, I'm going to tell you about what these skills do. Is that when we're distressed, right? So some people were saying they felt hot and some people were saying they felt cold and some people's heart rate went up and some went down. And what these skills are designed to do is they are designed to work on 2 systems in the body. One is the sympathetic nervous system and the other one is the parasympathetic nervous system. So we have fight or flight and we have arousal. Yeah. And so when you want to deal with your distress, you have 2 options. You can go over the top of the sensation, like say for example your heart's beating fast. Yeah, you can make your heart beat even faster and then it will come down afterwards. So Barbara, have you ever gone for a run when your distressed?
Oh, loads of times. Yep. That's one of my go-tos.
Right. And what happens to your heart? What happens to your heartbeat after you stop running?
Well, it goes down.
Right. Yeah. And lots of these skills are as effective as if you had medications. Yeah. Because lots of medications that calm people down work on the same systems. So the first thing that you could do, or one of the things that you can do, is you can change your body temperature. Yeah. And there are two different ways that you can do that. One, you can just hold your breath and put your face in a bowl of cold water. Yeah. Or you can get frozen peas or ice packs and put them on the bits of your body that is hot. Yeah. You can take a cold shower. Yeah. All of these, what you're really doing is looking at a certain temperature water. And when we change our body temperature, what we're hoping to do is activate something called a mammalian dive response. Yeah. And this is because all mammals, when submerged in cold water, particularly around the pulse areas, like in our face, in our wrists, yeah, we immediately slow down our heart rate and our breathing starts to change. Yeah. So by holding your breath, you're going over the top of it. Yeah. Whereas having a cold shower, you're going underneath it. Yeah. So both ways, activating both systems, you can use that. And this cold water thing, if any of you have tried it, it's absolutely sensational. It works really fast, instantaneous.
Yep.
Yeah, instantaneous, which some of you will know. So there it is. There you go, changing the body temperatures. Those of you that go very cold, what you can do is warm it up. You know, so get a snuggly blanket, or or whatever. You get a hot water bottle and stuff like that. Yeah. So we can change our body temperatures. Another way we can do it, because you'll see that I'm going through these TIPP, T-I. The next one is exercise, or intense exercise. Yeah. So this is to calm your body down when it's really fired up by the emotion. And what you do, you would engage in intense exercise, even if it's for a little while. And what you're looking to do is expend your body's stored up physical energy. Yeah, you're looking to get it out and to squash those body sensations. So this is not about getting on your favorite running costume or exercise costume or your leggings or whatever it is that you use to exercise. This is going there and then. Intense.
Yeah, just drop to the floor and do like a bunch of push-ups.
Yeah, drop to the floor and do, well, if you're like me, you can do 3 or 4 push-ups. Other people can do more than that. So you could drop and do 20. You could do 500 star jumps. You could run up and down a staircase. You could, whatever pushes your heart all the way up there. So there's that. Then another option for us is what we call paced breathing. Yeah. And what we do is we breathe deeply into our stomachs. We slow the pace of our inhaling and out and exhaling, and we slow that right down. Yeah. And when we're doing breathing exercises, what we want to do is breathe out more slowly than you breathe in. Yeah. And for a bit longer on the out breath.
So like, can you give an example of the counts, or like you would like breathe in for 4 and out for 5 or something, or whatever?
Yeah, there's different variations. So some people you would breathe in for 4, hold it for 6, and then breathe out for 7. You could practice blowing out a candle for, not blowing out a candle, but the what you might use for blowing out a candle, which is half the breath that comes in is doubled on the way out. So it's more like,
yeah.
So because what the out breath does is the out breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Yeah.
What's that?
Is our nervous system. So there's nerves all over. There's nerves and all over our body. And what we want to do is because when we're agitated, this is where you're feeling it through your body, or you could even think of it, the vagus nerve. There's nerves that cover the whole body.
So Brenda asks, how can we do these strategies when we're in the middle of an argument or a conversation for someone for example, and we can't help but lash out?
Well, you can leave the situations, go do it. You know what? We're going to come back to this conversation a little bit later on.
Yeah.
If you engage in if you're distressed and you keep going in an argument, maybe you start shouting. How much does the other person listen? How much do you listen? You're
I
not you're not
agree.
you're not going to problem solve anything then. So just leave, go do it, and come back to it later on.
Yeah.
Very little gets solved in arguments. When people are shouting at each other, for example, very little ever gets solved. People think they'll feel better, but they rarely do feel better in the long term. So you can
If I get distressed in a conversation, I do the breathing stuff because people can't see that. And
yeah,
you can do
yeah.
it.
But yeah, so it depends on how high the distress is. Look, and if you're going to work on these sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, right? This is based on science. Yeah, this is based on lots and lots of science, and it helps. And knowing that can help. Knowing that and having a look at this stuff, and then practicing it. It all takes practice. No, if you didn't need to practice this stuff, you could just do it all now, and I wouldn't have a job, would I? Because I just say to people, one session, go ahead, do this, yeah, and they'd be fine. So you got to practice these things. You've got to practice these things when you're distressed. You got to practice these things when you're not distressed, particularly breathing exercises. Yeah. So taking control of your body is what I'm saying, and taking control of your body sensations. So there's that. So we've done temperature, we've done exercise, we've done breathing. What? And another one that we could do is using what they call the paired muscle relaxation, right? And what happens is that when people are noticing tightness or tension in their body, right? This is just about undoing that. And there's lots of medications that work that way. Yeah. Sleeping tablets very often work on the idea that if you relax the muscles, it tricks the brain into thinking you're tired, and then that makes sleep a lot easier to come by.
Yeah, I just want to say to people watching, like if those of you that weren't here last week, we did the paired muscle relaxation in the mindfulness on the move exercise. So you can go back and watch that if you want to practice that.
Well remembered. That would be the one to do. So while breathing, so this is about while breathing it, and I don't know if we can put up an example of a paired muscle. Well, we've got one, haven't we, in the
We
recording?
have one. Yeah. We have one. Yep.
But there are ones there are ones on our
on the Instagram. Yep, there
on our
are.
web page thingy.
Yeah.
So these are called the TIPP skills. Yeah. And I would encourage people to have a go at all of these. Yeah. And just one thing on the cold water stuff, yeah, is that especially that if you dip your head in the cold water, right? If it doesn't work, you hold your breath for 30 seconds. If it doesn't work the first time, just go back and keep doing it four or five times. Yeah. 30 seconds sometimes isn't enough for people. But if you go back four or five, that will do it. Yeah. And so just in case you think this is not for you, what I would like to say is special forces, some of the toughest soldiers in the world, they use this kind of they use these kind of techniques, and they use them to help their clarity of thinking. Yeah. So when soldiers are on difficult maneuvers and they're stuck, they're disorientated and things like that, they're hot and their bodies are aching, they might use things like this to change their thought patterns. So for those of you think you don't need them, everybody, no matter how tough.
Sports people use them too, you said, right?
Sports people, of course, sports people use them all the time. Ice baths and all of this. Look, and some of this cold water stuff, doctors are prescribing this now for people. It's called social prescribing. If any of you live near Hampstead, go across Hampstead Heath in the morning and you see people swimming in the lake. In Russia and Eastern Europe, people have been swimming in iced water for years on end.
Yeah.
Because we know about its regulatory impact.
Okay, right, great. Thank you, Darryl. All right, so everyone, you have something to practice. Just remember the letters of TIPP. We will put something on the Instagram page for you with examples and stuff like that as a reminder. You've also got the other thing to practice was when we looked at the when you wrote down your top 5 body sensations, you know, like check what the order is, right? Because you may not know right now, but it is really useful to know that order. I know for me, as soon as my chest starts getting tight, that's my number, what is it, 5? And then I'm like, oh, if I can start the distress stuff then, way better than when it gets to number 1. So, right, anyway, yeah, get the most benefit from these skills, you do need to do the practice every single day. Yeah.
And if you have any burning questions, you can email us at mindset@bodyandsoulcharity.org.
Absolutely. Don't hesitate to send us your questions, please.
Yeah. I'm going to say this again as a reminder that MindSET is not designed for crisis support. So if you cannot keep yourself safe, please go to your nearest A&E department. Or if you're at university, go to the mental health support team.
Oh yeah,
Let's
go
call
ahead.
Samaritans at 116-123.
Yes, and in the meantime, between now and next week, look after yourselves, stay safe, and keep working on your mindset. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us today.